today. Today on Judgment Day, we take a look at Superman, the Man of Steel for Xbox, ToeJam and Earl 3, Rygar, the Legendary Adventure for PlayStation 2, and Tommy and I review the Nyko Airflo controller for the Xbox. All right, first game we're going to talk about is Treasure Planet Battle at Procyon from Barking Dog Studios and Disney Interactive for the PC. What'd you think of this one?
Did you see Treasure Planet?
No, I didn't see the movie, and not many people did.
You know, neither did I.
Right, okay. It was a big bomb, actually. I think Disney's very disappointed with that movie.
Well, then the game should follow suit, I guess, suppose. The first problem I find is that, you know, you're in this kind of cool 3D world. I mean, all of the game is in, the ships are modeled in 3D, the plants are in 3D.
That's right, yeah.
But the entire game only takes place on one plane.
Right.
So you never can move your spaceship, which is supposed to be able to float anywhere. You can only move it this way. You can't move it up or down.
And it's a bit weird, too, because your spaceships, just like in the film, are actually tall ships. They look like old pirate ships from, like, the 1700s. And they really could have just put a water background, which is weird because Barking Dog made Homeworld Cataclysm, which was the add-on pack to Homeworld, and that was a fully 3D space battle type game. So that's what I was expecting out of this one.
Well, the other thing, too, is that the storyline itself, this storyline takes place 5 years after the movie.
That's fine.
I don't understand that.
Well, people don't want to play right through the movie if they've seen the movie. You know, the 10 or 15 people that have actually seen the movie.
I think, though, for the rest of this, in order to, you know, to pay homage to this game, we should do the rest of the review in slow motion.
Right. I know where you're going with this.
This is the slowest game in the history of the planet, Treasure Planet.
You get better ships as you go, but they get more powerful.
You get the really fast ones.
But no, they get slower.
They go 2 miles an hour.
They go slower. But what makes the game fun, though, is the battles. The battles are actually very good. You have to sort of line your sights up ahead of the other ship that you're trying to hit because they're moving at the same time as you are.
Oh, the challenge.
And you have to, you know, get up alongside. You've got cannons on both sides of your ship, so you can't just be going for those head-on collisions. Although that is a strategy in the game as well. You can bust through your opponents.
Well, the problem I had with the gameplay, though, was that from the very first second you put the game in to the very last scene in the game, which can blow through in about 6 to 8 hours, is that
it is very short.
They tell you exactly what to do throughout the whole thing. So you get this voiceover, and it tells you, look, go here, do this, do that.
A fine day's work. Now, gather up any pirate longboats you can see and take those ruffians prisoner.
It's made for kids. You got to keep that in mind. But like all good strategy games, though, the single-player game is really just there to sort of guide you along and teach you the principles of the game so you can get into multiplayer matches.
Multiplayer.
No, multiplayer is great. You can get online and play with some friends or over a LAN. You don't get much of a CG sort of intro or anything like that, which is weird because it's a Disney game and they've got access to all of this amazing artwork. And you get these sort of still renders and then some really nice voice acting, but that's about it.
So what do you give it?
I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Oh, ouch, walk the plank, Swabby. I'm giving this game a 2.5.
On the positive side, the graphics for the game are quite nice. The battles are very colorful with lots of really cool explosions. And the sound effects and voiceovers are very, very good.
On the negative side, even though everything is in 3D, you can't actually move in 3D. In single-player mode, you're pretty much held by the hand and told exactly what to do every step of the way. This is one of the slowest games.
All right, next game we're going to talk about is ToeJam and Earl 3 from Sega for the Xbox. Now, what do you think of this one?
Well, you know, I'm a big ToeJam and Earl freak from way back in the Genesis days. Always liked that game. And this game revolves all around funk. There's this dude out there called the Funkapotamus. Say it with me. Funkapotamus.
Now, the whole story of the game here is that Funkapotamus Lamar the Funkapotamus.
He's funked up.
He is all funked up. He lost his 12 funky albums.
He lost his funkin' records.
His vinyl. It's all spread up all over the planet Earth. So he has to send ToeJam, Earl, and Letitia to Earth, and they have to scour the planet, funkify the population, and find the vinyl.
What this game suffers from, as far as the whole characters and storyline are concerned,
right?
Everybody kind of acts like a bro in the game.
These
like
are
very,
rapping aliens. I mean, they have to go over the top. It's got to be cheesy.
What up? Yo, props to my peeps.
It's got
it's all that kind of stuff.
It's got to go that way, though. It's a comedy. They're trying to have some fun with it.
You know what? But some of the humor is okay, but really, at the end of the day, it seems like they just tried a little too hard with all this storyline.
This is coming from you.
Why don't you fill us in on what Lil Lamont had to say?
Now, don't you go disrespecting Lamont. He's the great funkapotamus, source of all funk in the known universe. You not even a potamus.
You can also play as the 3 different characters, of course, at any time. You just have to find the sort of character switch points, which are scattered throughout the game level. And through Xbox Live, you're going to be able to download a brand new character and some new levels as well.
When you go into a level,
right,
it's actually, they use this technique where they randomly generate all the pickups in the level.
See,
so
that's
every
cool.
Single time you go into a level,
it's a different experience.
It's because it's always different.
Yeah.
But the reality is that it really kind of hinders the gameplay because all you're really doing is collecting stuff.
I think the random generating
and you got
thing
your
is fine.
funk fu powers.
That's how you funkify the humans, which you have to do. You have to earn their love, their funky love. You get all kinds of power-ups. You get like spring shoes so you can hop around. You've got all kinds of weird characters. I like the wise old guy in the carrot suit that will actually give you sort of promotion to new belts. So you start off as a freak or whatever, and then you become a doofus with an orange belt. It's generic gameplay, but you can play it with someone else, and it's fun. It's sort of a multiplayer experience.
Well, the thing about the multiplayer is actually all the 2-player games are kind of going to this style, which is, you know, when the 2 characters are on the screen at once, they're on full screen. But if they get too far apart, it actually goes to split screen, which is cool. The music in the game is well done. You know, there's some gospel, there's funk, you know, that kind of stuff.
I like it.
The music in the game is great.
Yeah.
But they did something really unique in the video game,
right,
which annoys me, and I hope no one ever does ever again.
What's
which
that?
is this. Every time you hit a sound effect, any sound effect in the game, the music dips down.
Yo, yo.
You can't take it too seriously. I'm giving ToeJam and Earl 3 7.5 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 5.5.
On the positive side, the game's got tons of funky music. The character stuff is crazy, maybe a little bit too over the top for some people. But the best part about the game is just its overall sense of humor.
On the negative side, although the music was very well done, the overall mix with the sound effects was just strange. This isn't a really in-depth game. For the most part, all you're doing is collecting things. And although there are good bits of humor in the game, it seems like sometimes it comes off a little too funky for its own good.
Stick around. We're going to be right back with a look at Superman, the Man of Steel. You think this one's going to be good?
No. Hey, tear his freaking face off, you loser! Hey, there's nothing I enjoy more when I'm at a wrestling match than playing my Game Boy Advance. And I'm, of course, talking about Legends of Wrestling 2. You got all your favorites like Andre the Giant, big old dude, he could eat me for breakfast. Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper. They have tons of multiplayer modes. They have single player, they have tournament, 3- and 4-man bouts that you can get into. I like the career mode because you have to work your way through different areas in the United States and different maps. So you start in New York City, and you have like a popularity meter as well, which I thought was a unique kind of thing to add in there. Now, they do have an incredible system as far as doing all the moves, which I like. It's interactive, so once you do a hold on somebody or you grab somebody, there'll be icons that pop up that you can kind of watch, and it'll tell you what to do to perform a certain trick. The characters are actually pretty large on screen, which I like, but the problem is the game frame rate, I mean, if you can call it frame rate on here, but the frame rate is relatively slow and a little choppy. If you love wrestling games, this is probably a really good one to pick up because it's got all your old school favorites. I just wish that it was a little faster action pace. But overall, they put a lot of stuff in there. I'm going to give it a 7.
All right, we're back. We found a soapbox derby car shaped like a carrot.
It's a carrot car!
And we're going to talk about Superman, the Man of Steel.
Want to see my Superman imitation?
Sure.
That's when Superman's flying. See, I got a little air compressor.
You do have a little air compressor.
It's crazy. Why in this game is Superman, like, in the future fighting mechs?
Well, they've set up the Superman in the future because Brainiac 13 has...
What's that?
He's one of the bad guys from the Superman comic books. He's made Metropolis 100 years in the future. He's given it all kinds of new technology, so it's a super advanced city now.
Did I miss that in the story? Because they don't explain that ever.
Well, it's...
And I couldn't...
That's what's current in the books right now.
Stupid idea. I mean,
right.
Superman fighting robots, to me, just doesn't... And the thing is that because I didn't know that. Yeah. I just found this out now.
Right.
So, like... They should have set that up a little better, because I didn't understand what was going on.
Yes, so what you do in this game, in fact, is you do get to beat up on lots of robots. These are all sort of the spawn of Brainiac 13. They all grow all over the place, and they try to burn buildings and take down radio towers and blow up trains and do all kinds of bad stuff.
When you first put in the game and you see the graphics and Superman, and you're controlling Superman initially, and you're kind of flying through the air, it's actually pretty cool.
Right.
The big downfall, which destroys the rest of this game, is the actual combat and controls.
Yeah, the controls
And the reality is that the second you come up on somebody and you have to have a battle with them, the controls change and turn into this
I was so disappointed.
Playable game. They have this system where you can kind of target, and it shows you if the enemy is above or below you.
Right.
But getting to that, they make you use like the shoulder buttons.
Yes.
Plus the controls, and it's really,
You have to lock
difficult.
on. If you're not going to be comfortable locking on, you're going to find this thing impossible. It is already, but if you can get used to locking on, you can start to complete the objectives.
The other thing, too, that really annoyed me about the game design was that the levels, for the most part, are all timed levels.
Right.
You're always on a timer, and I
Your
hate
objectives,
that.
yeah. I did think that the CG stuff that was in the game, all the computer generated, is kind of a mixed bag. There is some nice-looking stuff, but then the characters in some of the things, like there's a scene where Jimmy Olsen and Superman are talking, and their faces and everything just look so distorted.
Has Perry managed to find out any info on these robots?
According to Star Labs, the metal left over from those things is identical to the composition of the Brainiac bots you fought before, when Brainiac upgraded Metropolis and nearly...
I remember, Jim.
They got the orchestral things going on there, so I thought the music was excellent.
You can sub in your own music as well, so if you wanted to put the movie music in there, not recommending that, but if you wanted to, you could do that. I'm giving it 6 out of 10.
Wow, 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Jeez, you
I
just
still
don't
had fun.
like giving anything lower than a 6.
I do give stuff lower than a 6.
I'm giving it a 3.5.
On the positive side, Metropolis is a massive, sprawling city, and it's very fun to fly around in it. You have all of Superman's powers, which is very cool. And we really like the music in the game as well.
On the negative side, the controls in this game bring the entire experience down. The missions are timed, and what is up with some of those freaky CG scenes?
All right, now we've talked about a whole bunch of controllers for the Xbox, but we've got one now that is more innovative than most that we've seen before. This one's called the Airflo controller.
What's it called?
The Airflo controller.
Hey!
And it's from Nyko. It blows air. It's got a fan inside of the thing. You have the ability to turn that fan off or on, depending on whether you want. I prefer off. I like it when it's off. Okay?
Now, they do have the circular buttons as opposed to the jelly bean style.
Buttons are a little bit larger.
And they're larger, and they're spaced out, and they're in the cross.
Yep.
So not like the old controllers, so that's good.
It has grips on the side as well, so you know it's got a nice sort of rugged feel to the thing. The analog thumbsticks aren't slippery at all, so your thumbs won't slip off of them when you're playing Unreal or something like that. But that brings up my only problem with this device
Which
is that
a big problem.
It is a big problem. The communicator doesn't work in it, and I suspect it's because the fan is drawing power from the Xbox, and it's probably using some of the power that would normally power the communicator part. So you can't play Xbox Live and talk at the same time. You can still play the Xbox Live stuff, you just can't use the communicator.
I'm going to recommend it if you're into getting while you're playing your game.
Yeah, this will keep your hands cool. I'll recommend it as well.
On the positive side, here's a controller that blows you. It also has the new button layout, which is good. And the controller has cool rubber grips.
On the negative side, and this is really the only negative about this thing, the Xbox Live communicator doesn't work on this controller. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Rygar for the PlayStation 2. Don't go anywhere. Bushido Blade for the PlayStation.
Now here's a game that's really cool because there's tons of different modes of play. It's not just like two guys fighting each other, you know. The most amazing thing about this game is the fact that, like, if you hit the guy once, that's it, you're dead. If you hit him in the right place, you know, if you hit him in his head, that's it, dead.
It's incredibly realistic. I mean, these blades can really hurt you.
Yes.
You've got to be careful with
concept,
them.
Huh?
Exactly.
I like you hit a guy in the arm and his arm doesn't work anymore, so you gotta, you know, fight around like that. Or there'd be a bandage if you nail the guy in the head or something. He'll have a bandage on his face.
Yeah, and they start limping. And
there's a bunch of different characters in the game, which all look great. And what I like about it is you can actually pick your weapon. You can pick from a knife or a sword or a stick or whatever. Give it an 8.7.
8.7?
Yeah.
I'd rate it a little bit higher than that. I think it's an important step for video games. It's a real adult type game, and I think we need more of those. I'd give it a 9.5. 9.5 out of 10. Definitely check it out. It's completely different for a fighting game.
You know, it's possible for a PlayStation 2 game to even be a buried treasure because there's a lot of great games out there that never got the props they deserved. You got Eco and you got Echo. This week I'll do Echo. Now, Echo first made its debut on the Sega Genesis. It was an awesome game. Everybody loves dolphins. I know I like dolphins. A lot of people know about Echo the Dolphin and say, well, that's not really a buried treasure. But did you know it came out on the PlayStation 2? The music's really good. The lighting underwater is really good. And you have to go around and do a bunch of different things. It's not just some side-scrolling, jumpy platform game. You know, there's a lot of cool elements in this. The cinematics are really good as well. You have to go on a ton of different missions, you know, like, you know, saving different baby whales or, you know, trying to figure out how to get into different areas. PlayStation 2 owners, take note. Echo the Dolphin, defender of the future.
All right, we're back. We're at the next stage of the pirate ship building thing here. They're actually putting foam and scraping that off.
We're going to float it away at the end of the show.
First of all, we're going to talk about Rygar for the PlayStation 2 from Tecmo. What'd you think of Rygar?
Right, Rygar is an old classic game on the NES. This game feels like an old school 2D platforming game, except in a 3D environment, like similar to what Maximo did.
Right.
When they brought that franchise into the future. I love this game.
Yeah, very good analogy. And this game is absolutely gorgeous.
The graphics as good as they are, and the environments are very beautiful.
The environments are perfect.
But overall, the entire game as a whole is a little blocky, and I think they sacrificed a little bit of that high-res action because the game does run at 60 frames per second.
It has a very smooth frame rate. And the coolest thing about all this stuff is that as beautiful as it is, you can kick the crap out of all of it. You can knock everything down with your disc armor, man.
You can pretty much destroy everything in the game, which opens you up to lots of secrets and secret areas and pickups. Controls are pretty easy to use. It reminds me a lot. This game is basically really Devil May Cry.
It also has the Devil May Cry static camera angles.
It's the static camera angles. Now, they do kind of move. There are, you know...
A little bit.
They will scroll a little bit, but the camera angles are fixed.
Yes, they are.
Basically, so they're locked into the position. A lot of times, they're fine.
Right.
They're perfect. But sometimes you get into some
weird,
corners or some rooms, and the camera angles are weird. I wish you could have controlled somehow controlled the camera on this,
especially in this game because the environments are so gorgeous. And this is also one of those classic sort of arcade type games where bad guys pop out of nowhere and then they regenerate and they keep popping up in the same place. And you constantly run into surprises, and the fact that the camera angles are static doesn't help.
I would have liked to have seen a little more variety in the enemies, though. That's the other kind of little knock I have against it.
Oh, I'll give you that for
kill
the-
a lot of slugs.
How about the bosses, though, man? I mean, the bosses are
they're
insane.
freaky.
They're completely freaky. They've got all kinds of weird colors and stuff. One of the first big ones that you run into is this giant statue of, like, Zeus or some huge god.
Now, your main weapon is this thing called the disc armor.
That's right.
I like to refer to it as the yo-yo of death.
It is the yo-yo of death.
It's the yo-yo of
Great
death.
name for it. And the cool thing about it, too, is that Tecmo's added all kinds of combo maneuvers into the thing, so you can actually spin out your disc armor, grab one of the dudes, and then whip them around like this and beat all the bad guys and bust the walls down.
That's
and then you can also pick up new disc armors as you go, so you can actually shoot up at...
There's two other ones.
Yeah, you can shoot up and swing.
Grapple. Now, the music in the game is all live orchestra.
Oh, that's another great thing.
Done by the Moscow Philharmonic.
Another thing that I really liked about the game, too, was the sort of narrative, the storytelling that's in there. The voiceovers are a little bit cheesy, but it's got, you know, it is a mythical kind of world, and it does such a great job of putting all the pieces of that puzzle together. I love Rygar. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
I'm giving it an 8.5.
On the positive side, these are some of the most beautiful environments we've ever seen on the PlayStation 2. That disc armor is super powerful and super fun to use.
Yo-yo of death.
And the music is excellent, too. Overall, this is a great package.
Now, there are a few negative things, not much, but some of the camera angles are fixed and you can't control the camera, which is a bit of a bummer. Would have liked to have seen a lot more varieties in the actual enemies you fight. And although the cinematics are excellent, we would have liked to have seen the voice acting a little bit better.
Today on Judgment Day, Tommy and I reviewed Treasure Planet Battle of Procyon for the PC. This game features great, colorful Disney-style graphics, but the slow pace really takes away from the fun. On the Xbox, we reviewed ToeJam and Earl 3 Mission to Earth. This game's got crazy, funky characters and lots of cool music, but you know what? It might be too funky for some players. Also on the Xbox, we reviewed Superman, the Man of Steel. We had high hopes that this was going to be a great superhero game, but alas, it's just another lame one. On the PlayStation 2, we looked at Rygar, the Legendary Adventure. This is an amazing game with incredible production values, but the fixed camera angles still really bug us. And in hardware, Tommy and I reviewed the Nyko Airflo controller. Now, this is the controller that blows, but in a good way. On the Game Boy Advance, Tommy looked at Legends of Wrestling 2. This is a pretty cool wrestling game with lots of features, but the animation is a little too choppy, a little too slow.
Do you need any help here? Can I take... What are you saying there? I can't hear you. Did you hear that, Vic? She said...
I think she said hack away, do whatever you want.
Oh, okay.